Hey everyone, Sophia here. I am going to be going live with Viggy Parr Hampton, author of Much Too Vulgar. And we're going to be talking about obsession because we are both obsessed with obsession. That was such an incredible movie. It was just like so amazing how Curry Baker just came up with this phenomenal movie. And he's such a kid. And I kind of love it when she's going to be on pretty soon. So I'm keeping my glasses on so I can see her come on. Anyway, we saw Obsession. And I thought, oh my God, that's Keeley Rexroth, meaning Indy, because Indy was just so normal but insane, but awesome, but batshit crazy, which was kind of awesome to see in a character to be able to write something like that. So I reached out to Viggy. I said, "Hey, let's do an Instagram live," and she's like, "Okay." So she's going to be coming on pretty darn soon, and we're going to talk about Obsession. Now, if you haven't seen the movie, we won't give any spoilers. Well, I'll try not to give any spoilers, but I mean, it's such a good movie. And there are spoilers all over the place on the internet. So, what they did, and even the acting, what the actors did, and Indy Navret, I think that's how you say her name, she just really committed to the insanity of this character, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. Let's see. Oh, all right. I think, and hello. Hey, how are you? I'm telling everyone about your book, which I just absolutely love. And I am obsessed with your book. And I was just telling people about obsession. And right? Oh, wait, can you hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. All right. So we saw Obsession. I thought it was amazing. Indy Navret, I'm not sure how you pronounce your name. I'm so bad with names. Perfect Keeley Rexroth. It's like, right? It's that same tone, that same vibe.
It was so good. I'm obsessed with Obsession. I think everybody else is too.
All right. So how did you come out of the movie? How were you feeling after you saw it?
My face was just, for about
Right.
10 minutes after that, I was absolutely amazed by what they were able to do on such a small budget, too. The range of emotions, the practical effects, the story itself, the color palette, everything
Right.
was so well thought out, and they took it to a dark place. And then they went even farther, which I love.
And they cut stuff out. Did you hear it was supposed to have an NC-17 rating, and they cut stuff out? That, especially with the car window scene, that was the scene
That was hard to watch.
it was just kind of crazy. And of course, it goes into a lot of different directions. But I wanted to talk about how this character is just, I mean, she's so normal. And then some guy can't be true to himself. He can't speak his truth to her. So he fucks up her life. He just like fucks up her life. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to man bash. I love men. But I'm just like, huh. But so when she ends up going nuts, she kind of sees herself being weird and crazy, but she kind of like has no control over that. So do you think when someone really becomes obsessed with something, do they really have control over that? Or do you think they just kind of surrender and go for the ride? Or what are your thoughts?
That is a great question. I think it depends, especially on what you're obsessed with. I think she's obsessed with another person. That's something that can interact with you and you can play off of. I think that makes a difference versus being obsessed with, I love books or I love dogs. I mean, it's a little bit different, but I think at some point, instinct takes over, your emotions take over, and logic just goes completely out the window.
So how would you say Keely, her obsession, is it something she is aware of and has control over, or does she just kind of surrender to it?
I think she's absolutely aware of it. I think she has some control, but her threshold for what's acceptable is completely different from kind of a normal person's. So even though she knows she's obsessed, she doesn't think I've gone too far. I think in Obsession, Indy Navarette, our main character, she realizes something is going wrong, something is not right. Whereas Keely is thinking, oh, I have to do this, and this is fine for me to do. She never really thinks I've gone past what's acceptable.
Okay, what kills me is that we have Bear in the movie knowing what he did and seeing her literally just falling apart and becoming like this monster and does nothing about it. It's like he's just like this passive aggressive character throughout the movie. We don't have a passive aggressive character in Much Too Vulgar, and I'm kind of grateful for that because that really annoyed the Jesus out of me.
I know. Gosh,
Right?
it's her being like, why can't you just be normal? And I'm like, you did this to her. You can't change her and then be mad that she changed.
Right? So who's really the bad guy, right?
Mhm.
And he kind of gets off scot-free because, oh, well, no
Well,
spoilers, right? Don't it? Well, do you think he kind of gets off scot-free or not really?
to a point. To a point, yes.
Okay. Now, would you say Keeley gets off scot-free?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just
She
kind of
does.
like, that's kind of why we love her, huh?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just want the villain to win.
Right?
What will happen?
But it's like she's just so normal though. You can see why she wants what she wants. Now, what would you say her main obsession is?
Her main obsession, she wants to get into medical school. And the path to do that is to get into this Hughes research program because all of the big medical schools recruit from this program. So she thinks if I can get into, I will get into the top medical school and then my mom will be proud of me. And she will do anything she can to reach that goal. Anything.
Yeah, and what do you think starts it off with her in well, I don't want to call it insanity. We'll just call it her obsessiveness.
I would say it probably starts when she doesn't get into this program because she thinks I did all the work, I deserve it, I have the grades, I have the work ethic. How did I not get in? And then to see that her rival Erica gets in over her, that is just more than she can take because that's not how the rules are supposed to work. And when she sees that, she thinks, well, if those rules don't work, I'm going to have to break them.
But do you think she really thinks she's breaking them, or she's just kind of like, I mean, because she doesn't really see herself as doing anything wrong, right?
I think yeah, maybe not breaking the rules, but making things fair.
I like that. She's making things more fair for herself, right? Yeah, that right. Let's talk about Erica. No, now Erica's completely clueless about Keeley. Would you say Erica has an obsession of her own, or do you think she's just kind of like living her best life?
I think Erica's just living her best life. And honestly, I based her kind of on me because when I was at Georgetown, I was a student in the Hughes Research Program. That was a real thing. I worked in a lab. And Erica, she wants to do the best job she can. She's interested in science. She just wants to be normal and have a good college experience. And she doesn't have that level of obsession that Keeley does. She doesn't have that single minded focus because she's there to explore and see where she wants her life to go.
Right. And she ends up in the program that Keeley desperately wants. Yeah, that would kill me too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, exactly. And so when she actually goes for it. So could you see someone like Indy take on a role like Keeley that's different than Freaky Nikki, but
Oh my God.
similar, right?
I think the range of emotion she showed and the way her face would reflect her internal conflict. I mean, there's so many memes now from that movie just of all the faces she made. And she did such a good job doing that. And I can't help thinking that she would put an amazing spin on Keeley. She would bring all the emotional depth, all the craziness, but also get your sympathy, which I think is also really important. And I think she could be a little bit funny, which is what we need for Keeley.
All right, so it was so crazy. We're adapting this into a movie. Yes, which I'm so excited about. All right, and a lot of times when you go into adapting a screenplay, you talk about what A-lister actors can you get on board. That's like big, especially when you're doing your a big movie like this. Period. What I loved about Obsession was they're really not big names. So you've done a little stuff here and there. How do you feel about bringing someone on completely new who could really embrace the role?
I personally love that idea. I think there's so many talented actors and actresses out there, and so many historically who have gotten their start in horror. I mean, look at like Kevin Bacon or Jennifer Lawrence. So many people, Jennifer Aniston, got their start in these low budget horror movies. And I think giving somebody the chance to really make a name for themselves with a role this complex, that excites me.
Now, we would love to have Indy take on Keeley. We would absolutely love that. But I have to agree with you, taking on someone who's never really had that chance to really put her blood into a character like this. And Indy did. She fully embraced her, which was kind of freaky. Who there it really was. And then I saw a video of her where she was doing the staring contest. And it's like she became Nikki in the staring contest. I'm like, oh my God. Was she just like unveiling a piece of herself?
That's impressive.
It was really kind of crazy. Now, the big movie out right now is Back Room. It came out this last weekend, and it's $110 million, like mind blown. Which I know, 110 in one weekend, and I think Obsession really helped catapult that movie because of Curry Barker. What do you think of horror kind of making this resurgence, if you will?
I am so excited by it. I'm actually seeing Backrooms tomorrow. And the fact that we have two very young filmmakers who did these things before the big bureaucracy said, yes, I'm going to give you all this money to do it, I find that super inspiring. And I love seeing horror on the center stage now. I mean, horror won a bunch of Oscars, and now we've got these two big movies coming out, not around Halloween, around just June. That is so exciting to me because I think people are finally recognizing that horror has so much to say. It's not just blood and guts, it can go deep in so many different directions.
And your books do that. It's like and I say books because you have your fifth book coming out next month, July, right?
July 29th.
July 29th. And so 5 books, people, you have to go check out her website, viggyhampton.com. 5 books. Oh my God. I love your work. And you write in a way that just kind of gives you a chill, but makes you think, and it's like, because it's so relatable, and it's like, oh, this could really be happening. And that's what I love so much about Much Too Vulgar is like, I can see someone actually doing something like this, and and I think now Obsession, I can see someone making that kind of wish. There are more men like Bear than I care to admit, which is kind of sad. So it kind of makes you wonder, is this really, but anyway, I just think it's really awesome. So based on the movie, The Obsession, you as a writer, if you could have changed anything, what would you have changed
In Obsession?
in Obsession? Yeah.
Oh, that is a great question. I think maybe seeing a little bit of Bear and Nikki before this happened, and I know you only have so much time in a film, but seeing what was she really like before, because she does a great job of transforming, but I would have loved to see maybe a little bit more of what their dynamic was, because she gives him the opportunity to tell him tell her how he really feels, and he doesn't take it. And I'm thinking, what happened that made you so reticent? You know what I mean?
Right? Especially when he was telling his buddy that he was going to do it.
Yeah.
It's so great. So I've been watching videos, and I missed it in the movie. I get that happens. You have to more than one sometimes. When she reads the Hansel and Gretel poem, and I saw a video about and that she had like, did you get that she felt like he was her brother? Like people are
I
saying it,
did
or
not get that. I thought the language was like, extremely like sexual and intimate and very, very awkward. So, but I didn't get the brother angle.
yeah, because I saw a video about that. I'm like, what did I miss? So I'm like, huh, okay.
It
But
makes sense now that you say it though, since she always kind of saw him as a friend. So that makes sense.
so I'm like, okay. So what did you think with him really liking the other girl? And for the life of me, I mean, she's a wonderful actress too, and I can't remember her character's name.
Was it Sophia?
Sarah? No,
Sarah.
that's me.
No, with Sarah.
Yeah. So, but it kind of looked like he was really getting feelings for her, So, and she liked him in the first place, and she told him in the first place, and he was in denial. So I guess this guy was just in denial about so many things that really ruined everyone's life.
Yeah, I mean, I took away from this, don't take things that don't belong to you. Like her affection, our main character, or Nikki's affection did not belong to him. And he had something else right there that he just didn't want to look at. He was so single mindedly focused on her. And then all of that came back. And when it was directed at him, he thought, this is terrible.
So he was obsessed with the thought of Nikki then, right? So he was really the one who was obsessed. So would you see any similarities between him and Keeley?
I see in the fact that they both want something so badly. And I think he doesn't think that the wish is going to work. I think it's one of those throwaway things that people say all the time, like, oh, I wish that this went my way, or I wish, she loved me. I could totally see anybody doing that. So I don't think that that was his intention. But then once it happened, he was not really able to take full responsibility for his actions. And that's also scary.
Very scary. Yeah. Well, the shop you went to buy it, that's actually not far from where I live. It's like a couple miles away. Yeah, the Green Man store.
Oh my gosh,
It's
that's so funny.
I know it's kind of wild, and I've been there once because I was like, "Ooh, it sounds cool," and it's total crystal shop. They do card readings as like very witchy, and I'm like, "Ooh, I know, right?" And the music store that they worked in also right down the street from where I live, which I thought was like really awesome.
That
I
is
know,
cool.
I know. So I was like, okay, all right. It's a bonus to living in LA, I guess. You see recognizable places, but I just love that they were using actual place because in LA it's so hard with permits and even on a lower budget movie. That's why a lot of low budget movies don't really film there because you just get charged so much and bureaucracy and it's like the waiting game. And so it was really exciting to see that. That was like really cool. So the friend, the bear's best friend, what did you think about him? Do you think he was just kind of like a sidekick, or do you feel like he really contributed to the story?
I think he was kind of a voice of reason, and he was kind of the normal counterpart to Bear's abnormal. But if we're not doing spoilers, I won't get too much into it. But I thought the twist at the end was very interesting, and he struck me as kind of like a typical like frat bro type of guy.
Yeah,
Uh, and I was not confused, but surprised that he was friends with somebody like Bear because they're so different.
right. They probably grew up together, right?
Yeah, or just
Yeah.
proximity working together. Yeah, because I mean, they just seemed like very different people.
Yeah. Did you think he kind of lied to Nikki in that kind of way?
I think he
Right.
thought she was hot, but I don't think he really cared about her as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, no spoilers, but yeah, I think he was just kind of like, oh yeah, this she's cute, this is convenient, why not? And which
Right.
is knowing that his best friend Bear liked her so much, it's kind of icky.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But so the very opening with the cat now, that threw me, but I really thought about it because in Much Too Vulgar, we have rats,
We do.
you know, and so the whole animal part, I like, and I haven't really heard an outcry about the cat being dead, especially when she brings in the cat and they wake up and it's there in the kitchen, which I thought was kind of really interesting how she got it, you know. So
Yeah.
what do you think of the way they dealt with that or they
I
used
thought
that?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was interesting, and the ways that they depicted her level of obsession. Because when we think about obsession, we don't always think about the level that she went to, but they did a great job of looking at so many different ways. It wasn't one note. It wasn't the same thing over and over and over. It was like she did some weird stuff with the cat. She did some weird stuff at the party. She did some weird stuff and some
Right.
really violent stuff. And I thought that kept it really entertaining because if we'd just seen over and over and over her just hugging him and saying, I love you so much, that would have been boring. So
Right.
I liked that they brought that in. It was very different.
Well, I thought it was interesting too because we see a short montage of them looking really happy, like
Yeah.
very short montage, and then it's like you see her like wanting to cuddle up to him, and he moves her face, kind of like I don't want to deal with you. And then I thought he really didn't want her, or do you think he felt like he didn't want someone wanting him because he wished for it?
I think it's that, but I also think he was able to live in this fantasy and say, "Oh my gosh, look, the life together is exactly what I wanted it to be." But then, when they're watching TV and all she's doing is looking at him, he just wants to be thinking, "Be normal." He wants to forget the wish and still try and convince himself that she's doing this of her own volition. And when she does stuff like that, he has to be like, "Nope, nope, be normal." Because if she's normal, then he can say that she loves him for real and it wasn't some sort of weird wish.
Yeah. What did you think? Okay, the phone call. Okay, darn it, I'm giving spoilers to people. That's like if you haven't seen the movie, and you probably have, ignore this part. But I have to ask when he calls up the number, right?
Yeah.
And that's actually Curry on the other line, which I thought was really awesome.
Oh,
But then when we hear Nikki screaming in the background, okay, what? It's like was he calling hell, did or was I missing something? What do you think about that part?
I first of all, I love that part. That was one of the creepiest parts to me. And I
Oh.
think in my mind, when Bear wished for this wish, the real Nikki's consciousness or soul or whatever you want to call it went somewhere else. And
Ah,
that is wherever this wish phone call headquarters is. And so when he put her in line, all she can do is scream because she's not where she's supposed to be, and all she can do is watch her body do crazy things and have no control over it. That's terrifying.
That makes total sense. I hadn't thought of that, but that really did. That is really terrifying. And her screams were just, or like when she was watching him sleep.
Mhm.
Oh my God, that was so creepy. And then, yeah, and but he was like so patient with her though, at that moment. I mean, uh, that was kind of weird too. It's like his behavior to her was kind of weird also. It was like this weird dance.
I think because he kept trying to figure out, like, is it possible that this wish was real? And so he wanted to treat her as though, oh yeah, you just, you did too much Molly or something. That's totally normal. And then more than anything, he will go as far as he can to preserve the idea that she really loves him for him until he can't do it anymore.
That's pretty obsessive.
Yeah. They're both obsessed with each other, but not really. They're obsessed with the idea of each other in a way.
It's really a tragedy.
Yeah.
Right, which is and pretty gruesome. And so the ending, what did you think of the ending?
I will say I did expect that.
Okay.
So I did expect it, but I liked it. It made sense. I felt like it wrapped things up in the way I wanted it, and I don't like a happy ending. So I was happy to see an unhappy ending.
So I hear there's going to be a continuation in Curry Barker's new film. I'm so bad with names right now.
They're called like Anything But Ghosts.
Yes, Anything But Ghosts. Yes, and they're going to introduce for Nikki. To what extent, I don't know. I've heard a few things, but who knows till it's done, right? So that'd be kind of cool how he's creating his universe around the movie, which I think is brilliant.
Yes.
Is cool. So talk about not a happy ending, going back to Much Too Vulgar. What do you think about the ending we've talked about?
I like it. I like that it's a little bit ambiguous too. You don't necessarily know, is this the end of her story? Is it not? What's going to happen after? That's one of the main things I like, is because you want to be left with, well, what happens after? I don't like neat little bows. So I'm very happy to see how this translates to the big screen.
Well, I just love that it's set at Georgetown University, because there's just such a richness there. And as we like dig into stories about the school, I'm like, holy moly, just like, whoa. I mean, even that picture of you standing on the mosaic, it's like, don't step on it until after you graduate. I'm like, well, what's the real story behind that? It's like, what would happen if you did? It's like, do the bus run over you? Or, so it's like, I just thought that was really interesting. And I was just wondering maybe if, who knows what kind of world we end up creating, but it's just really exciting that you wrote such a rich story with such incredible actors. None of your characters are passive aggressive. They all have a great personality. And I'm so excited about that because I just know actors would love any role that they would get. So that would be really awesome. So can you imagine if Freaky Nikki actually met Keeley? What do you think?
Oh gosh. They would probably kill each other. But and I'm not even sure who would win. Although it would actually be really battle.
That'd be pretty wild. Oh, I'm kind of glad Nikki's could still be around. Again, spoilers alert, I can't help it. Because I wonder if she'll be holding on to the obsessed Nikki in her new life. Is that's just going to be a part of her now?
That would be interesting to explore. See if there's some sort of like residue left after these experiences. Even if there's not, I mean, I think we can assume that she saw everything that was going on. She just couldn't do anything about it, which would be interesting to explore. Like, did she just come into her body and all of a sudden she sees all of this, or did she know what was happening? But either way, she's going to need a lot of therapy. Like, she's not okay.
Do you think she'll continue to kill people in a way that she doesn't really mean to? Because
that would be interesting. I don't know, because I know we're not supposed to say spoilers, but with the object of her obsession not being present, who knows if the spell is totally broken or if it leaves some sort of stain that she can't get rid of.
Right. And do you think she can make her own wish?
Well, she did.
Well, she made her own wish. Which part? I'm missing a part.
Okay, sorry everybody,
Well,
spoilers, but
yes.
remember when Bear is in the bathroom and he's taken the oxycodone or whatever, and
Uh-huh.
he's about to die, and then she makes a wish that he will be obsessed with her, and that's when he tries to throw up, and then he comes out there, and they're both like, "Oh, I love you so much, I love you so much," but then he actually does die, and his hold on her breaks.
Oh, okay. You know what? I think that I think I had to go to the bathroom. I missed that part. Oh my God. Okay, now I just have to see it again. Okay, I definitely have to see it again. All right. Well, you as a writer, if you had a chance to write the sequel for Freaky Nikki, how would you write that?
I would definitely have her have some sort of stain, some sort of residue, something that still lives inside her that drives her to do things she doesn't understand. Because, I mean, whatever took over her body was a completely different entity, a completely different person. And I think it would be so interesting to see how does she move forward in the world? Is she arrested? I mean, what are the consequences? I mean, there's two dead bodies, three dead bodies in this house with her at the end. So what happens? Does she run? Does she make a new personality? That's what I would explore is how does she live afterward?
Yeah, that could be really interesting. See what happens. I don't know. So it'd be kind of cool to see what happens. Well, it's so refreshing to see like young blood coming into the industry because we see so many of the same actors all the time in the movies. Like Brad Pitt and anyways, like, and it's nice to see fresh people come in and to see fresh stories. And I think something like Much Too Vulgar is very fresh and just very exciting. So people who, haven't read your book, they need to read it because, we're gonna get it on the screen. It's going to happen without a doubt. And that's just so freaking exciting. So anyway, I hate to say it, but I feel a little obsessed a little bit myself, not in a bad way, still very much in a controlled way. But okay, but going back to that question from the beginning, when you're obsessed with something, how much do you feel you have control of it? Whether, I mean, does Keeley have control over what she's really doing, especially that going towards the end of the scene?
I mean, I think to an extent you can have control over your actions when you're obsessed, but it's very hard to have control over your thoughts really ever. And sometimes if you just hear those obsessive thoughts over and over and over and over, you just need a release valve. And sometimes those are the actions. That's how you get the obsessive thoughts out of your head. And I think that is what happens to Keeley.
Well, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what kind of actors come up, and it'd be wonderful to discover someone new so she could have a big explosion like Indy's having. Of course, Indy would be great too. And there's
Yes.
just so many talented people out there. It's just so exciting. And to see more people wanting to do horror, which they say is easier, yeah, well, cheaper to make, which I don't know. But it's just great to see people going for it and doing it.
Yes, 100%. I am so excited to see what else the rest of the year has in store. And that now that everybody knows horror has a place at the table, let's see what else we can do. Let's see more.
All right, so you guys see Backroom tomorrow night, right?
Yes.
All right,
Mhm.
so I'll probably see it this weekend. Let's talk about that too and see what kind of comparisons we have.
Oh, yeah.
Much Too Vulgar, because Much Too Vulgar is just like so rich, and just so juicy, and I meant the rat still kind of creep me out, but like it's so awesome. Do you think there are any animals in Backroom at all?
I haven't even seen a trailer. Everybody was talking about it, and I love the idea of liminal spaces. So I'm just like, let's just see. I'm just going to go in blind and just see what happens.
All right, I like that. That sounds very cool. Very cool. Well, it's great to see people on here. That's very awesome. Thank you guys for joining. Well, we are only gonna do half an hour because we are both busy. We have a movie to make. Yes, and
Yes.
things to do. But we will be back. We are coming back. We're gonna talk about Break Room
Back
and
to
back. Me and Harold, holy moly! Anyway. So we'll see that. We'll come back on and do that, and we have a lot. We have a lot of juicy things happening, and a lot more things to talk about because there's a lot of Georgetown lore that I think we should share with people. I think they might really get a kick out of it, and things that you're still learning, even though you're an alumni or alumnus of the school. So yeah, that'd be really cool.
we could do
Anyway.
a whole episode on the Georgetown cuddler.
Yes, yes, I think people need to know about that most definitely because now was there actually a Georgetown cuddler?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. So we will. All right. We will do this again very soon. We're probably should we say before the end of the month?
Yeah, we can.
All
Yeah.
right. All right, we will definitely do it. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Viggy. You're awesome. Much Too Vulgar. ViggyHampton.com. Buy the book, read the book, and if you have comments on the book, let us know. If there's something you really want to see in the movie or in the book, in the movie, let us know because it's happening. Yes. That's so exciting. You guys are so awesome for joining, so thank you. All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.